I don't know about you guys, but when I think of my kids, they have superpowers. They can hear the sound of a chocolate wrapper from a far distance. I remember the other day my daughter barged into my room, my office room, and she saw a few chocolate wrappers on my table, and she was annoyed. And then she created a graph. Let me share my screen. So she created this graph showing how many chocolates her dad eats every day all by himself. When I think of it, it seems like a protest, a cute protest talking about her dad and she not being happy about that. Hello, everyone. My name is Gulrez Khan. I'm the author of this book called Drawing Data with Kids, where I'm trying to teach data visualization, data literacy to the younger audience. And I also work as a data science leader in my day job. Today, I'm going to talk about visual storytelling and public protests. All right. So going back to the story of my daughter complaining about her dad eating all the chocolates. So my wife is very mindful of how much sugar they eat, and I have a sweet tooth. So I need to be careful of eating chocolates when they are not around. And clearly, like what she was trying to do, my daughter was trying to do was she was protesting in her own unique way. And she created this visual. Now, if I were to do a critic of it, I would say, hey, maybe you could have done a good job and maybe add another bar talking about how many chocolates you got to eat, which could be zero. Maybe add some annotations over here, and that would make it a compelling case. Power of visuals. Once I attended a session of a storytelling speaker, and he was telling about the purpose of stories. The purpose of a story is to move the audience from point A to point B, take the audience on a journey from A to B. And when I think of myself as a data visualization practitioner, I think our job is something similar. We want to enhance the understanding of the audience and move them from one perspective to another. Now, when I think of the protests, right, this is where people are leaving their cozy homes, their comfortable places, and going on the street, leaving their routines, chores, whatnot. And they are there for the causes. They want to create empathy for their causes and want to move people from one understanding to another. I remember the other day, a few months ago, I was invited for a talk by for this event by Data Visualization Society called Information is Beautiful to talk about the making of my book, Drawing Data with Kids. It was a wonderful event, as you can see, like the number of amazing people I got to meet and the great visuals, and it was all treat. After the event, I headed back to the Baltimore airport for my flight. While there was still some time for my flight, I was reflecting on my 2 days that I spent in this amazing company and the great visuals I got to see. And I was telling to myself, this is the best of the best you could have seen. Few minutes later, I opened my laptop and saw this image on my machine. This was from a protest in Washington, D.C. And when I looked into it, now I think this is the most moving physical data viz I have happened to see. What you're seeing here is you're seeing 100-foot paper with the names of 2,913 Palestinian children killed in last few weeks. Let that sink in. 100-foot long paper with names of Palestinian kids who were killed in few weeks. Unfortunately, this was 7 months ago, and the number has increased to six folds now. As I ponder over this visual, I think I feel sad, I feel angry, But from a visualization practitioner, I think this is amazing. Like here, I see the visual on the streets in protests, and it does an amazing job in moving people and creating an empathy for the cause. In this talk today, I will try to share some visuals that I've seen in different protests recently, and maybe you can appreciate this wonderful work which is happening on the streets. So, visual storytelling in public protests, that's my title. Know their names. So, this is one visual where people are carrying the name of kids who lost their lives, who were killed. I saw the similar pattern, like this is healthcare workers and students marching in UC San Diego in November. Few other visuals where people are carrying the name of the kids, people who were killed. They have names, they had dreams. Another pattern that I've seen is empty seats, right? So before I share the next slide, I want you to imagine school bus full of kids. And when you think of school bus with kids, you might think of some chocolates. You might think of kids playing, having fun, lots of noise, lots of sound coming in. But what if there were school buses without kids? This is one of the visual which is again very impactful. This shows 4,368 empty seats. And these are buses which are lined up, showing these many children who have lost their lives from gun violence. On July 14th, 2023, I believe, the NRA Children's Museum, a mile-long convoy of buses, paid a visit to Senator Ted Cruz, who received 700,000 from gun rights special interests. Look at this image again. These are buses standing in the shape of a gun. On February 13, 2010, as part of the Day of Anger against job cuts in Italy, there was a silent protest. What do you see over here? You see these are around 10,000 helmets which have been placed outside Milan Stock Exchange, complementing the strikes of thousands of workers in various industries. Shoes carry a message. Hundreds of empty pairs of shoes dotted the streets of downtown Paris, symbolizing the cancelled march environmental activists had planned to hold before climate change talks. There have been a number of protests I've seen where people have used this kind of a method of placing shoes in protest. And when for this particular thing, like the march was cancelled, but protesters left their shoes. Another similar one from the recent war. This is 8,000 killed children. 8,000 pair of shoes were left in Denmark. Look at those small shoes here and there. Look at the lives lost. A similar protest happened in South Korea when the number were around 2,000. This is from Netherlands protest again. This is a red shoe protest, which is a symbolic protest and awareness campaign in response to domestic violence and femicide. This movement involves placing red shoes to represent and draw attention to the women who have been killed due to gender-based violence. Wonderful art. All the shoes are red in color, telling about the lives lost of women. Banners. There have been few banners that I've collected. This was from Trump inauguration. There were these questions raised of how many people showed up in inauguration and how many didn't. My sign is as small as his inauguration. I thought that was funny. The Occupy protesters slogan, "We are 99%," referred to the income disparity in US and economic inequality in general, which were main issues of Occupy Wall Street. During UEFA Europe League round, thousands of Serbian soccer fans displayed 5 huge banners listing over 20 countries which have been invaded by the US and NATO. Timeline visual. All we are seeing is give peace a chance. I love when people come together for these different causes. They were just flowers. A flower representing one Palestinian child killed. Around 20,000 paper poppies were, were left in front of New York Stock Exchange, showing more than 20,000 Palestinian children who have been killed so far in the war. As a father of 3 kids, it hits me hard. Murals. A mural on Houston Street in Manhattan. This is highlighting the case of Turkish artist who was jailed for nearly 3 years over a painting. And here these bars represents the number of days she has been in prison. Look at her picture and it shows behind the bar. And when you can't comprehend the numbers. There's a video which I want to share. So this was clothes of people, around 20,000 uh, clothes were kept. You cannot have enough words to describe like what's happening over there. Sometimes you just see and you feel. So we talked about power of visuals, moving from taking the audience from point A to point B. And with these wonderful examples, I thought they do an amazing job. And seeing your work or seeing the work of your community, data visual practitioners on the street, I think this is an interesting change or maybe an interesting observation that I'm seeing right now. So I thought I would share with the audience over here. With that, thank you everyone. My name is Gulrez Khan, and I look forward to hearing your